Disney has had great success with its recent franchises, especially the originals that have brought us beloved protagonists like the Zombies characters Addison and Zed. These star-crossed lovers couldn't be more different, yet they created something beautiful by helping make their world a more accepting and inclusive place. The entire Zombies franchise embodies a positive message, so it's no surprise that the franchise plans to continue expanding the lore and history of the world by introducing new characters and monsters with every installment. With the recently premiered Zombies 4, we met Vampires and Daywalkers, and in the future Zombies 5, it looks like we'll have mermaids washing up on the ocean shores outside of Sunnyside. Today's video will be all about the changes in Dawn of the Vampires and how they'll lead to the debut of the Mermaids.
Which means we'll always welcome the unexpected.
The Zombies franchise dedicates itself to introducing a new group of monsters with each installment. It's a tradition at this point, with each film following the history of the new group, the star characters within them, and the conflicts that threaten their livelihoods. The overarching theme for the franchise is community and acceptance, so each film follows a plotline that encourages one group to accept another or to find a way to coexist with them. In doing so, the monster community grows, with another group adding to the ever-expanding world that started with the shunned zombies in Seabrook so many years ago. In the most recent film, Dawn of the Vampires, Zed and Addison discover that college is more challenging than they expected. They throw themselves into their extracurricular activities, doing everything they can to become a football star and cheer captain when they return for the following school year. Although their rigorous training forces them to spend time apart and avoid spending time with their loved ones in Seabrook, they fully intend to attend separate camps to help them excel in their respective sports. Zed plans to drive himself, Addison, Willa, and Eliza to their summer plans when their car crashes, leaving the group stranded in the mountains without the means to call for help. They split up to look for other people, only to discover the Vampires and Daywalkers planning separate excursions to locate the last blood-fruit orchard. When they arrive at the orchard at the same time, a fight breaks out and the group almost start an all-out war. Addison and Zed intervene, encouraging the two groups to work together so they can share the food source. They're teamed up with locals Nova and Victor to lead the search for the orchard's puzzle keys and spend the passing days teaching the two groups to work together at an abandoned summer camp, Camp Rayburn. Nova and Victor come from different worlds, but they've dreamt of one another for years. When they cross paths for the first time, it's fate, and they can't help but meet in secret. A romance blossoms, and they decide to collaborate to help their people accept one another.
It's you.
It's you. Oh.
They want to usher their people to a new era of peace, which requires them to turn against their parental figures and reject everything the adults in their lives taught them. When they succeed and restore the bloodfruit, they're given more respect and leadership potential. It's made clear they'll continue as the franchise's new protagonists as Zed and Addison make a quiet exit. The decision to change the franchise's primary setting, introduce new monsters, and have a different cast makes sense. The original actors have moved on from Disney and dedicated themselves to other roles, making them less available for this child-oriented franchise. They're also older, as are their characters. Zed and Addison take on a mentorship role in the most recent film, showing how much they've grown and matured throughout the years. To keep the franchise relevant to their desired demographic, the changes were necessary. Nova and Victor stood out in the newest film and had a great debut. If they're not fan favorites, I'll be surprised. Now that we're essentially rebooting the franchise in the same manner as the Descendants franchise did with The Rise of Red, the tradition of introducing new monsters with every film will need to restart. In the last film, which bridges the gap between the old and new films, we were introduced to the Daywalkers and Vampires. As Nova and Victor come from these groups, we can expect to see more of them and their daily lives in the future, along with any conflicts that may arise as they learn to coexist after decades of living as enemies. Unfortunately, another problem might arise as the cherry on top of this cake.
Thank you for alerting me, Vera. And Victor! Working with our enemies? I should have you defanged!
As we got a teaser for the next film right before the credits rolled on Dawn of the Vampires. As Nova and Victor prepared to part ways, forced to return to their separate homes after restoring the bloodfruit, their goodbye on the beach made them the lone spectators to a supernatural event. A giant tidal wave rose from the ocean, twisting and turning into a water-made tornado that spouted toward the sky. Although quite the spectacle and far from natural, the anomaly didn't appear dangerous as it remained stationary, with Nova and Victor safely on the beach. While we didn't see anyone emerge from the water or control the waves, it's safe to assume that this brief scene is the teaser for the franchise's next monster, Mermaids. The Daywalkers and vampires have access to the beach, each other's doorways to the natural world, and the mountain existing by that beach. If their moonstone did create a third monster society they didn't know about, the only place they could hide for centuries without detection is the ocean far beneath the waves. It's also possible that the mermaids aren't native to the mountain and came to those beaches for a reason, which could be the primary plot point for the next film. If the latter scenario, I'd wager that the distress signal released by the bloodfruit roots throughout the film disturbed the mermaids or their technology in some way, prompting them to mount an expedition in search of the source. If so, they might have good intentions. Alternatively, they might also believe the bloodfruit, also a creation of the moonstone, to be in danger from these societies that once harvested it to near extinction, and might aim to take the fruit for themselves.
The moonstone also created bloodfruit, which both creatures need to survive.
Either way, that water scene drives home that mermaids or sea-dwelling creatures of some kind will debut in the next film. As much as I want to dedicate myself to the idea of mermaids, I hesitate to claim as much for sure. My hesitance comes from the fact that the franchise likes to introduce a new monster with each film, and technically we've already received confirmations that mermaids exist in this universe from the ending of Zombies 3. They appear at the end of the film as an animated cameo, confirming that they make themselves known to the greater world and move toward the town of Seabrook, which is known as a refuge and haven for all monsters. In this instance, the mermaids called themselves merfolk. Outside of this brief cameo, we know very little about the merfolk, and as the main cast of Zombies graduated from high school and moved on to college, we didn't get the chance to meet them in Seabrook. The change in setting for Zombies 4 might be why they're getting an official debut in the next film, if the writers always planned to include them in the franchise but had to postpone their involvement due to the other changing narratives. If it's not merfolk that we meet in Zombies 5, then it will likely be another underwater-themed monster. My first and most anticipated guess are sirens. These monsters get a bad rap in folklore for luring sailors into dangerous situations with their beautiful voices, which would fit perfectly in this musical franchise. They might be misunderstood, like all the monsters we met so far. They might need someone like Nova and Victor to help them connect with the outer world and find where they belong, proving they're not as terrible as people believe. I'm also excited about the possibility of including a new setting, such as an underwater utopia. The Zombies franchise might be gearing up to show us its version of the mythical kingdom of Atlantis.
What kind of leaders are we?
Look, I'm no leader. I don't want to lead Shadyside. I want to leave it.
All in all, I'm saddened to see the original cast make their exit from the franchise, but I can also see the potential these new changes hold. Nova and Victor will make the perfect additions to the universe, and they're already showing so much leadership potential. I don't doubt that they'll have the same positive influence as Addison and Zed on Monster Kind. After their success at Camp Rayburn, they'll likely reach out to whoever sent out that water beacon, but only time will tell if they'll find friend or foe beneath the ocean waves. What do you expect to see from the future merfolk? Will they be as friendly as the ones in Seabrook, or will they have something more sinister planned? Share your theories and thoughts in the comment section down below.
You gonna tell us why you brought us all here?
We found the key!
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
The vampires have to push the ball to the moon.
And the Daywalkers to the sun. Only one team?